Hello, good afternoon, everyone, and thanks for bearing with us. Today, we're going to discuss a little bit about the opportunities and the reasons to be scared about AI. And before we start our conversation, I'd just like to get a barometer of our audience. Who of you, let's do a show of hands, who of you thinks AI is more of a reason to fear? Okay, we have, and who believes it's more about opportunities? Wow. Okay, we have an optimistic crowd. I feel like I'm not being represented here because I'm more on the fear side. But before we started, I would like to ask both of you to talk a little bit more about your business, your company, and how you integrate AI into your operation.
Do you want me to start? Okay, so good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here with you. So at Traive, what we do, we have been this journey for the past 5 years. We build AI and technology infrastructure for the capital markets and agricultural supply chain. We are 120 people in total with data scientists, engineers between Brazil and US. We have offices in Boston, São Paulo, and Minneapolis. And we developed architecture and modeling in order to help agricultural credit risk and risk assessment for credit analysis, merchandising, to leveraging AI and better data so they can do better assessments, but also portfolio management.
Nice, yeah, and hi everyone, I am Sarah. I am one of the founders and the COO of a company called Ultimate. And I've been building Ultimate for about 5 years now. We're about 170 people across London, Berlin, Helsinki, and New York. And what Ultimate Ultimate is a really powerful customer service automation platform. So our customers use Ultimate to design AI virtual agents that work as a core member within their support team and automate all of their digital support channels. So that's email, chat, messaging. And so AI is a really core component of our product. We use AI for the machine-human conversation. We use it to understand, extract key information from the customer service messages. And we also use AI to manage the model, right, to cluster and train. So, yes.
And Sarah, I want to start with you because in our pre-summit conversations, you said that for you, AI is both future and fear. Can you elaborate on that and explain why do you think there's reason both to be optimistic and to be scared a little bit?
Yes, okay. So overall, I am definitely camp future, but in customer service in general, it is a bit of both. And the reason is that AI is completely disrupting the customer service industry, right? So first you have to understand the scale of customer service. So in Europe and North America, 4% of all employed people work in a contact center, right? So it is a massive employer. And what these people do every day is predominantly very transactional requests. So it's requests like, where's my order, or a product recommendation, or a lot of different things that AI is starting to get better than humans at handling. Because AI is instant, and AI can speak every language, and AI is 24/7. And so last year at Ultimate, our average automation rate was 45%. And we estimate that now with generative AI, in the next 18 months, so by 2025, it's going to go up to 60%. So that means that AI is going to be handling the majority of customer support. And so that's why it's the future, but why it's the fear as well is, of course, what does that mean for jobs? What does that mean for the people that work in the industry today? And that's a lot of jobs are changing, right? Designers are afraid of being replaced by DALL-E, customer service agents by ChatGPT. And I think overall, the fear is overestimated. I think that these changes are happening slowly, gradually over time. It's not that jobs are being removed today. It's just that the jobs that are going to be created in the future are going to be different than they are today. And so the challenge that we have now is, how do we teach our teams to use these technologies? How do we teach ourselves And also for the media, how do we maybe stop having so many scary headlines that make people feel really afraid and not part of it? How do we tell stories of real use cases and real kind of boring stories of what's actually happening so that people can understand it better and feel part of the change?
And Aline, you are not on Team Fear, but you're not necessarily all in on Team Future as well, because we were talking backstage, and you're still unconvinced that this is not a fad. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, I think building on the point that you were making, look, you need to understand how the architecture of those models, they work eventually, right? So they learn very fast. And what is AI does better than human is understanding super fast patterns that they can translate it into signals that can be constructed. And in every history of technology, we started like what the ChatGPT, the technology underlying, which was transformers that came from 2017, from a paper that Google invented, which is all attention that you need. And just, they thought about, okay, how you can teach the architecture to look to the whole string of the data and have attention to all the signals information, not only to the last point that was passed. Why I'm saying that? Because eventually what I think makes people fear is also what can be solved. For those models, they don't go outside of the boundaries of what we believe is the human correct knowledge, the policy, the society's implications of that. There is a discussion about whether, okay, yes, I mean, can AI substitute some, execute some of the jobs better than what human does? But at the same time, when you think, it comes with the progress, just like Industrial Revolution was, right? When you put the machines in the factories, there was this whole discussion, and I think like people, they will be re-skilled, and AI, in fact, what we need to be careful is how we can teach those models and the people surrounding it to understand how they function, their mechanisms around, so they can have the leverage. And therefore I don't believe anyone should be fear them, but they should understand them so they can augment what they do.
And to your point, and I want to get both of you to answer this, given the breakneck speed in which we're seeing AI models being developed, we are seeing like an arms race for AI among many companies. How can we regulate? Is there a way to regulate, or how can we, for instance, ensure that these AI models are not going to reinforce human biases and actually increase these biases?
Yeah, so there's a lot on AI regulation that you could probably talk about. But one thing that I want to say is that one very low-hanging fruit that we need right now in a world of generative AI is we need to have it be clear when something that we're seeing or reading or interacting with, it needs to be clear whether that has been generated by AI or not, right? Why is that important? We need to know as a society whether a video that we are watching really happened or whether it is a simulated interaction, because the truth matters. What actually happens in the world matters. When it comes to conversational AI, like what we do, it's very important to know that you're interacting with an AI because you need to know that intimacy is not happening, right? A relationship is not happening. It is a transaction, it is a machine. And it can be very destructive to society and to trust overall if we do not have these facts. So that's something that we can do now, and that is a very low-hanging ethical piece that we can put in place. But Aline.
And Aline, to add, before you start answering, you work with the credit industry, and one major concern that people have is how will credit scores be like if they are 100% done by AI?
Correct. And this is the point, right? Traive, we work already in the boundaries and in a constraint of a highly regulated market. Not only that, the financial market is imposing a lot of barriers on how data can be accessed, which also, AI point of view, creates even more barriers and difficulties. But still, there is a lot of development. And one of the things how we have done in Traive, which I saw being also discussed in some articles, how you can regulate those models. So the models, to a certain extent, first of all, the way that we we chose the architectures of the algorithms is exactly to not allow the models to hallucinate or to do wrong. Because in the case of financial transactions, different from ChatGPT that can give you wrong but convincingly sounding answers, we can't do that with our customers in this industry because it's alive and we can take biases in terms of our discrimination on who should get the credit line or not. Instead of, we took a different approach, which we put this architecture of knowledge graphs, which are extremely powerful to help to model a domain. And that gives the boundaries for those transformers that they can generate not new insights, but they go into the boundaries of what is acceptable and correct. And at the same time, it does not render their capacity to give basically new insights and continue this to find. And in terms of the regulation, I think eventually it will come, and I think some use case, it needs to be observed by use case, right? Like a regulated financial sector is different from regulating AI for your industry, which is different from news, right? How do you do this? And I think, I don't think we should prevent whatever we decided in the regulation. We should have also technical people in those regulators' bodies working that can help on how the models can be framed or how data can be shared or how the results can be exposed, right? So people can. And I honestly believe as time goes and that becomes more common sense, I think the discussions are about the fear, they tend to vanish because it becomes a known matter for everyone.
Yes, but for instance, you mentioned the news, and for me, one of the reasons I'm so afraid of AI is because take Brazil. In 2018, we're discussing bulk messages on WhatsApp, and now we are saying, okay, maybe you're going to have AI models that is going to spread misinformation at an uncontrollable pace, and which is going to be really hard for people to tell from real content, and that's for me one of the reasons I'm so afraid.
But that's where citations can be one of the ways that you can solve this kind of problems, particularly in news, right? Make citations, prove data, and every time that I give an answer, here is the facts, here, and also the models, they can give the contradiction. Hey, it's just like a hypothesis, right? Hey, tell me who is the best party. Let's say this is a question. Well, there are people that claims that this is the best party because of this, and there is people that claims that this other party is good because of this, but here is the bad. And then people chooses. And the models, just in this example, you can calibrate them to give exactly this type of answer instead of they just choosing or waiting who is the best based on the weights or who posts more, right? And this is why I say that, I mean, I believe there are many ways to come around without killing what the benefits of this industry can bring to us.
And Sarah, you told me last week that your company, Ultimate, had launched its first generative AI model, Ultimate GPT, and that you have been having a lot of new insights. So what have you learned from this first steps of this experience?
Yeah, so we launched our first generative product for customer support automation just 2 weeks ago. And it's a really simple product. Basically, what you do is you put in your help center URL, and it immediately creates a bot that can just start providing customer service based on what's in your help center. It's just like click and go, right? And so that's really exciting. The speed of the launch is really exciting. But of course, we're learning a lot while we're doing it. And so I'll talk about two things. One of the things that we're learning is what companies actually care about. So companies care about the tone of voice of their AI, right? Every brand has a different personality. They want to be a unique flavor of casual or chatty or have a sense of humor. Or maybe you want to be more formal to certain customers. Or maybe you're dealing with a very serious case and you want to be very serious. And so the personality and the tone of voice and the customization of that is a really interesting challenge. And it's interesting seeing how important that is actually to businesses and consumers. And to work on it. But on a more macro technological level, what's so exciting is the fact that large language models are so huge and they have so much context in them that it really simplifies our architecture. So to give you an example, 6 months ago we had a different AI component for each part of our product, right? We had some AI to do the intent recognition, and then we had a different AI for sentiment, so what customers are feeling. We had a different AI to recognize key information, like an order number or a customer's name. And we end up with this massive modular architecture, and we have to maintain and improve all of these components separately. And it slows down innovation. So with an LLM is so big, that's the technology that products like ChatGPT are on, that we can have the context in there, the intent recognition, the sentiment, the extracting key information. It's all in a single model. And so what that means for products like us, and it's not just us, it's any NLP-based product, is that we can start to build and improve our products so much faster than ever before. So I think that's why people are so excited about the technology. It's about the speed of what's coming next.
And Aline, for us to wrap up, I would like to ask you, because AI is not like a one-size-fits-all thing. How can business approach AI and choose the best solutions to fit their needs and their challenges?
Wow, that's a good question.
in 1 minute.
And in 1 minute. Look, I'll try to provide a framework, right? First of all, know your customer. What is the target? What is the objective that you're trying to do, right? I mean, you're trying to predict something, or you try to classify something, or you try to create new data. These 3 questions helps you to define, okay, which is the best AI? Because it's not LLM if you try to classify or if you try to predict something. It's something else, right? And what is the implications of if you do a wrong prediction, a wrong classification in your data? So you can think about the boundaries, okay, I need to be careful with that, right? I think we always take the approach always to tell our customers how this works.
Well, Sarah, Aline, thank you very much. And you guys made me a little bit less pessimistic, but which is already a start. And thank everyone for bearing with us. We'll see you at the summit.